Yesterday, this Twitter user asked this question. So why did Yu-Gi-Oh not have the same longevity that Pokemon did? This has caused a major discussion on Twitter, and I kind of want to answer it because I kind of have an answer. For starters, it's unrealistic to really think anything would have the longevity of Pokemon. I don't think people realize how big Pokemon is. Pokemon is one of the biggest pieces of media of all time. So the expectation that Yu-Gi-Oh, like why didn't Yu-Gi-Oh have the same longevity as Pokemon, in itself really isn't a good question, because to me there's really no comparison. Now if you want to get the obvious like how big Pokemon is out the way, I do think there's some smaller reasons that I would like to bring up in terms of why I don't think maybe Yu-Gi-Oh is as popular as it is. And I want to preface, that's not to say Yu-Gi-Oh isn't popular. Obviously, Yu-Gi-Oh is very popular around the world, so I'm not trying to downplay Yu-Gi-Oh and say it's not popular, right? But I think this is mostly like a lot of people who really aren't into Yu-Gi-Oh, like a very, very casual market, are wondering like, to them, like Yu-Gi-Oh just disappeared, and obviously that's not the case. Let's start from the TCG's perspective. Yu-Gi-Oh is an incredibly hard game to play. If you play Yu-Gi-Oh, it might not seem hard, but when you think about when you first started playing Yu-Gi-Oh, especially like modern Yu-Gi-Oh, it is so much harder to play Yu-Gi-Oh than it is to play the Pokemon TCG. So when you're thinking about it from a TCG perspective, you're thinking about the learning curve for Yu-Gi-Oh is just incredibly high, to the point where it can be frustrating to learn the game. Once you actually learn the game, it's one of the more engaging TCGs. You'll have a lot of fun with it, but to actually get to that point, it is not easy. Another thing is the inconsistency with the anime. One of the things I appreciate about Yu-Gi-Oh is that each series had a different main character. While that's great and refreshing, one of the pain points of that is you never really establish like a mascot character, right? You think about Pokemon, Ash he was the main character for Pokemon for like 20 years, right? Obviously they have something new now, but everybody knew Ash because every time there was a new season or series of Pokemon, it was always Ash. But with Yu-Gi-Oh, you have Yugi, and then you have Jaden, and you have Yusei. Like, you have so many different main characters, it feels like it never really got a mascot, right? And so it's like it's hard to market when you have multiple main characters, because it really feels like you're not getting attached to one. 9 times out of 10, you ask somebody to name a Yu-Gi-Oh character, they're gonna say Yugi, but there's so many different series. Overall, this really isn't a comparison, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon really don't relate at all. A lot of people compare them because you think about what you watched during your childhood, but Pokemon is like a multimedia giant. It just is.